Hello everyone, welcome to Brenda's Brushstrokes and Bisque, painting live at 7 p.m. on April 24th. Hello everyone, welcome to Brenda's Brushstrokes and Bisque, painting live at 7 p.m. on April 24th. Hold on, I gotta switch volumes around here. Come on. Oh, the tablet's not working. So, hello everyone, welcome again. Sorry, I am still sick. I have a bad cough, and I don't know if they'll make it through the whole time or not because I just got done with a coughing spell. But we'll do what we can. So, excuse the coughing and the snotty nose because that's what I got. And I've been taking stuff for from a week ago, Thursday actually. It started that last class time, if you guys remember. So excuse me one time here. And I did all this before we got on camera, but that's how it goes. So we are working on our hummingbird watercolor. And I did take stuff before we started. I have cough drops, I have peppermint drops, I got lifesavers, I got whatever I need, but I don't... I guess we'll have to see. So last time we kind of skipped around. So you guys, I didn't do the back. I've been sick. So tonight we're going to start with the hummingbird so that if you guys want to get that done, you can get it done. Excuse me. But you can tell I have a bad cough. So let me see if I can find our hummingbird on our instructions. Alright, we're going to make some watercolor charcoal, and we're going to float this on the entire bird, floating a little more on the wingtips, tail tips, and beak to darken. So we're on number 8. So let me see if I can find some charcoal here. We have our OS 475 charcoal. And I still kind of like to use my foil, even though I did send those palettes with you guys in your box. You could do those too. I just end up going back to the foil always. I don't know. It's just a bad habit, I guess. Alright, so you can use a square brush. You want to use a nylon or a golden Taklon. So I'm just going to use my nylon. This is my number size 5. I'm going to go in there and pat it wet. And then pat it on my paper towel. So, I didn't want to cancel class because most people say this cough lasts for 3 weeks, and we're only into it for 1 week, so I figured we're just going to try to do it and do as much as we can. Alright. So I'm going to dip into my water and put it in my charcoal. And then I'm going to just kind of pull my charcoal to the side and make another little circle of it. And try to get it nice and thin. We want it really, really thin for watercolor. So you can kind of see through the charcoal now. You can kind of see through it and see the foil underneath it. So that's kind of what I usually like to look for. Like you can see through it when you put like one layer there. But I like to pat it on my paper towel. Let's see if we can get some comments up to appear here. Then it goes to the next one. So, we're going to see what we can do here for a little bit. If I get through the coughing spell, it's usually good for a little while. So if we can just get through it, we'll be all right. So I'm just going to turn him around just so you guys can see it better. So I'm going to dab into get some of that watercolor on there. And now I'm just going to, so our hummingbird is down a layer. And so that's actually a little heavy. So I'm going to actually go and get some water. I brushed out my brush. And I'm just going to thin that out. Get that in his beak there. Let's see if you can see it. And so by just patting my brush dry and patting the paint out of it and coming back to the piece with a little bit of water in it, I could make it lighter. So now I'm adding some more water to my charcoal here. And so you can see it's really, really thin compared to over there where it's really opaque. And now I did touch my paper towel again, just so there's not too much in it. I don't want it to run all over. Okay, so now it's a little too thin. So if you get it a little too thin, just bring some of your thicker paint over. The trick is it has to be really, really thin. Or really transparent, I should say, is what it really is. Now you could use the thin-in shade that we had as well to do this. You could thin it with that as well, if that's something you wanted to do. I try to do it usually the cheapest way possible for everybody, with the least amount of products, and so the water works fine. Maybe I just had too much brush on the brush when I started to. So sometimes I will pat that, when I go and get that watercolor, I will pat it on the paper towel here, just to make sure there's not too much in it, so that it gets where I don't want it. And so I'm just flooding or floating it in all the little indented areas here. And you can see them right on your vase. It's kind of a lot like putting the chalk on. All right. Just spin him down. And then I gotta see my bird. So I have more on the tail feathers here, and then more on these wings here. So I want to come back and maybe get like my little bit stuff that's a little bit not as thin, and come back and kind of build this up. And his little feet end up with black on them later, so like that's not a big deal. Same with his beak. So are any of you watching the Green Bay, the NFL draft that's in Green Bay? I thought maybe we would have people not watching because of that, because it is a pretty big deal. It's kind of the big talk here, although I didn't really plan on going to it. I'm about 45 minutes away from it. It is kind of a once-in-a-lifetime thing. So I did think about going and walking around, but I don't have the energy to go and walk around. Let's get these comments back again. Excuse me. And let me see, we want the tail tips, wing tips, and beak to be darker. So I'm just going to use the tip of my 5 nylon brush I'm using here, but you could use your liner to go in the beak there if you were worried about getting color where you didn't want it. Like I just got it a little wide right there, but that's okay. And I'm just going to build this up, this shading a little more. I did see a couple of the vases done. They look really great. You guys did an awesome job, so I hope it sounds like you liked the technique, so I hope you try it on something else. I will get these other 2 vases that go with these the next time I get molds, but it probably won't be for like 8 weeks here. I'm kind of behind now. It's kind of been a really tough year. Now I got an ear popping here today. Alright, so we got those grays in there. So then the next color is we're going to take watercolor gray over the belly and top of the beak. Use watercolor black. I gotta put something where I can see where it's hard to follow the lines when you're got your paper here and you're reading. So let's just go with the gray first. I'm gonna wash that out. Now we're gonna get some gray, OS 474. And we just need a little puddle of that, because now we're going to lighten a little bit, highlight. And again, I'm adding water to make, excuse me, the watercolor. Excuse me. Alright, and so our gray is going to go over our belly and the top of our beak. So I just want to get a little bit of that light gray on the top of the beak here, because that's where the sun would be hitting it. Okay. And then we're going to get it on the belly. Because the belly's a little bit lighter through here. So it's not a lot of dramatic color, just nice light watercolor looking color. And I just come down to the tail. I don't go with the gray on the tail. Okay. Do the black last. I'm going to go to the turquoise. See, we got deep turquoise up here, hopefully. Excuse me. OS 468, deep turquoise. You only need a little drop of paint. We're going to get some water and pull it into that. Again, I'm making it nice and thin. Kind of pat it out on my paper towel here first, so there isn't too much. And now I'm going to put that like in the wing color here. Not the wing tips, but more of the second part of the wing. And then I'm going to kind of bring it down on the back here a little bit, and then down to the gray on the belly a little bit. And then kind of up over here to the head. And then there's going to be some white along here, so we're going to put a little through here too. So now I'm just going back and doing it again. And that's just darkening that a little bit. So I have been pouring, I've only been pouring the box pieces. Today I did pour a few more things. I actually poured the mice ornaments today. And I poured that Clay Magic Advent tree today. And we're going to put just a little bit on this little section of wing over here. So I'll probably be posting the pictures of that Advent tree tomorrow just for a teaser. That will be one of our specials for Christmas in July. Alright, so I have some of that on there. I'll wash that out. And I'm going to have to go back and actually do these other colors because the white is over the top of that. And I'm going to have to take a second here and take a drink and get a new sucker to suck on. Hold on. Alright, so I'm going to go back up where it says to put the black on the top of the head there. Oh, where's my black? I just need a drop of black. And that's a ton, but... So our black is OS 476. Then we're going to need some garnet red if I can find that. Our OS 480 garnet. And then we're going to end up needing some bright blue, OS 459. Alright, let's get back to our bird here. Okay. Put my fingers in that blue. So I just used a little water. This has been dry since last week, so it's not going to hurt anything. Alright, so I want to come back here and read my directions. We're going to put a little bit of the black along the bottom of the beak, and then up over the head here. So I have to thin this out a little bit. If you want, you could switch to more of a liner brush for this beak part. So I'm getting the black in the bottom part of the beak to like darken it because the top has the charcoal on it. Okay. And now the front of his face is a little bit darker, so we're going to get a little bit of the black in there. And then he's kind of got a little eye right there. And that will paint black later. But I'm going to bring this right up over the head. Oh, I got that crooked there. We'll have to straighten that out. Right over the head. And I'm not coming down very far because I just want it a little bit darker here. Just for kind of a little bit of an outline. And I brought it right to his little wings here. And I'm going to pat my black on the paper towel here because I don't want a lot. And I'm just going to put a little bit on the tips of those wings to darken them just a little bit. Well, normally we're making them light things that are the tips lighter, but we're making this as darker just because of the type of bird it is. Kind of come down the side here. And I'm going to come back over here because it's not as dark as it is for all of it. Okay. And a little bit on the tips of these tails, feathers. I'm going to bring your comments back up. Okay, so we have that in there. Alright, now we're going to go to the garnet. I had to put some water in there. I did wash that brush out first. I'm going to pat it a little bit, make sure it's not too much. Put a little more water in there, so we don't want too much. It's got to be pretty thinned out. And now his little head he's got like it's like a little V through here. So I'm just going to try to make like, it's kind of like the the chickadees have that kind of mask going on them, and so does the cardinal. So this guy's kind of got the same thing going on right here. And then it comes up to the beak. So I'm just making little strokes. And so it's a little bit wider. It's wider down here. That's like a triangle. That's the best way to describe it, I guess. But it does come up to the eyeball. And then right around to the neck there. And then kind of down onto the chest. And I just do little, you can see like little stroke lines, so you can see, so they kind of look like little feathers laying there. So it's wider here and then narrower up there. And then it kind of comes right off of his beak. And then down under that chin area there. And then kind of around that eyeball. So that's where our ruby-throated part comes in, because he's got like a ruby throat. Okay, I'll watch that out. Then next we're going to do white. We have an area of white. Get some white on here. Excuse me. Alright, so we have to thin our white. So I'm going to thin that a little bit over here. What's going on? I don't know, maybe I bumped that. Hold on, you guys, I might have bumped this. Alright, let's see if we're back in the screen. So now we have, which I am going to take a liner to do the white, because the white is pretty fine. Come on here. And it's just the watered down white again, and I'm just using my little liner brush. And so along this ruby, stop trying not to get the thing in this paint. So along this ruby, we have some white. And I got a little wide with my ruby here, so I'm just going to bring some white right over it. And that's a little too straight. I thinned it a little bit. And so we're going to make little feathers of white right along that ruby line here. So we were talking about the draft. So I don't know if anyone's checking it out or not, but like that's like I'm only like 45 minutes from where the draft is at. But I don't think I'm going. I just don't feel up to it. I thought about going just to like experience it and see all the different people and all the fun stuff there, but I'm gonna stay away from it and rest. So I did pour the Clay Magic Advent tree, which is one of their original Christmas trees. It's an older one, but I did get the new mold from Starlight Molds, so that will be one of our Christmas in July things. I did pour the Alberta vintage mice today. So that'll be another one of our Christmas in July things. I'm trying to get us back on track. I'm into football games, but not the draft. Okay. All right. So this white is a little strong right here, so I'm just going to try to tone that down. Put some more other white, build it up around it. I know Green Bay did, they did a lot of, like, brought a lot of Wisconsin things there for people to enjoy, so I think it's going to be, it must be pretty cool. I've seen people posting that were there that they got, like, swag bags at the airport and stuff when they landed, so it seems like the city put a lot into it, so I hope everyone has a good time with it. All right, so we have our white on there now. Still a little strong right there. Just build it up a little more so it blends in. Alright, so that should work for that. Wash that out. The molds from last week, all they happened with them is they got unloaded to the storage units. They didn't make it to the garage to get the dehumidifier on them because I've been sick. So this just is, I can't do much about that. We'll get there though. So we have our white. Now we had our deep turquoise, which we did. And we did it on the belly side, the lower wing, the back, and down the tail. So we need a little bit more of our deep turquoise. And we're going to bring it all the way down the tail, and then some up on these wings too. Let's see if we can find our deep turquoise. So there are a lot of trees. So our Christmas in July is going to be a lot of tree stuff. There were other molds too. So we do have our light gray on here. We're going to put just, I want it really, really super light. There we go, real light with the deep turquoise over the top of that. And then the darker turquoise over there. Bring some down here. And so we'll get to those, and you guys can shop the website and add to your bisque box. There is bisque on there. There's actually quite a lot of bisque on there. I haven't really added any new bisque. I did add some of the candles from some of this month's candles are on there to be able to ship in your May box, if you're getting the box. And so that's all there. So I want to get this a little darker here. A little more turquoisey. So I'm just going to get, oh, that's pretty strong. Wipe it out and then come back and kind of brush it out here. I did a bunch of computer paperwork yesterday, so I'm halfway through your, I have all the stickers designed and stuff for the box and the instructions, and I'm working on your eye color pamphlet, which is your featured item for May. It's probably going to be 4 or 5 pages long with different eyes on it, step by step. And so hopefully you guys will enjoy that. I do need to paint some more eye samples, and so that's why it's not all the way done. All right, so we got that. Let me see. So we added some additional layers. Let's go and get our bright blue. So we need watercolor bright blue, and it's got to be really, really watery too. And we're going to put that down his back here. Now you could also use the dragonfly glaze on here. That would probably work really, really well. I didn't do it because it's just another thing. I'm putting some of the bright blue on his wings here. And then this is kind of like his belly part, the side of his belly, I guess you could say. I put some there. You want a little bit more there. And then kind of soften it going up those wings. So like there's, like these are like your feather, on a wingtip feathers, and this is like the other part. So I have it stronger here, but I still want that color up here a little bit. And then I want it coming down. So I'm just putting some of that blue, the bright blue, right over the top of the turquoise. They just kind of all blend together and make it look really cool. Then I gotta find some pansy on here, which I don't know if I've seen pansy. Hold on once. Purple. And here's some pansy. Our pansy is OS 564. So you can shop the website and add to your bisque box. Just use free shipping. Like I said, there is a little bit of bisque. The only new thing that's added is the this candle was added, and I didn't have an exact count when I added them, so I added them from home. I'll get to the shop either tomorrow or Saturday, and I'll update the number because I know there's more than six. So, what is Dragonfly Glaze? Dragonfly Glaze is a product by Folk Art, and it comes. It's a paint. And it has color reflections in it, like glitter sparklies. So it comes on, this one is what I'm holding is the red, blue, violet, or red, violet, blue shift. So it's got different colors in it, and you could put that over it. There's a green, gold, red one. There's like 5 different color choices you can find with that. And it would just give it more of that sparkly that the hummingbirds have. So now I have the pansy, and I'm going really lightly along the outer edge here of my little hummingbird on his back, because they seem to have that purple and blue and black in there. And then I also brought a little bit of it down, this purple color up down along his back here too. Okay. So now if he was too bright anywheres, we could add some gray over the top. Say this was too bright here, this is kind of light here. See if we can kind of even things out here a little bit. Let's get our turquoise in. Let's kind of bring a little more color into there. So it's just an overglaze type of paint. It almost looks like clear sealer with sparklies in it. And you can use it on stuff to give it extra pizzazz. So depending upon what color you want to add to your bird, like I'm just making him a little more bluer with the turquoise. I'm going to actually come back and make his head our red is a little bit washed out in some areas, so I'm just going to come back and get some more of our garnet. And kind of, I have the brush kind of flat, even though it's a round one. And I can use it kind of on its side to kind of lay those little, like little feathers in there. And just darken that up a little bit. So now that looks better already too. Alright, so where's my charcoal? I don't know if my charcoal, I didn't maybe have it shook up enough. It's not very dark. Excuse me. So let's get a new charcoal, thin it out. I want to darken the top of his head up a little bit more, because their tops of their heads are usually pretty dark. If I want, I could even take and add a little black to my charcoal. And I call it floating the color on there. I don't know what else you would call it, because it's just kind of like, I'm not really brushing it on. I'm just kind of laying it on there and kind of letting it float. So if you want to darken things up, you can do that. But I just took a little charcoal and added a drop of black to it, just to kind of get a little more deeper color going on this guy. Kind of get that on the bottom side of his beak. And then maybe a little more on the tips of these wings, just to get them a little more prominent. So I'm just doing it on the outside edge of those feathers, and it's just giving it more detail to it. And you can do that down here too. Maybe we want a little more on his head. And then even if you want to like outline that, the outer edge there, you can do that a little more. So let's see, what do I want? Maybe just a touch of this light gray, or the regular gray here. I don't know if I went in the, what I did there. Alright. Just going to bring a little bit more gray. Because his bellies usually, they're pretty light. So we'll just get a little bit more of the light gray back on here, on the belly part. Okay. Let me see. I had watercolor walnut for the feet. Oh, I don't know if I have walnut here. Don't usually use walnut here. Let's see. Black brown. I'm pretty sure I don't have walnut here, so I'm just going to use our black brown. And that's saddle brown. That's cinnamon. Hold on. So you can use black, brown, or walnut for his little legs, or even charcoal. And those I'm going to use the little liner brush for, because they're really itty bitty little legs there. And I'm going to thin it a little bit. So we have our watercolor again. And just kind of lay it in there. You don't want it straight, because then it's going to be really strong compared to all of the rest of the colors. But we just want those little bit darker feet that they have. So we have a lot of these here in my area in the summer. They usually come, I think they're like down by Madison. There's a migration map you can watch. And it looks like they're like down by the Illinois-Wisconsin border. So they'll be moving in here not before too long. But it's been on the cool side, so they probably won't find their way up here yet for a couple weeks. So these are just their little legs and their little feet, so we're just getting it with some brown so it's not too strong. And there's just a little indent there that you can just kind of put the brown in. All right. And we're going to wash that out. Then I'm going to use my black and give us a little black dot here for our eye. A little black circle, not really a dot. It's bigger than a dot. And you just want to be really careful because you don't want to have to fix it, because it would be like you'd have to go back to your gray background and kind of just start all the way over, because the black is so dark compared to the watercolors. I did see an ad that Mako has officially merged, I guess is the word. There are Duncan and Mako color lines. So I do have some of the Mako colors left yet, so those will be on the web page yet until they're gone. Some of them are just getting renamed with the Duncan label, so we will still have some of them. Alright, so that looks pretty good. And I'm going to thin this black just a little bit. And I just want to run kind of down the bottom, like where the two little beaks would kind of meet, and kind of put that little dark line there. Alright, so that looks good. Our black has to dry before we can add any white to it. Well, it does look like I need to come back and add some brown. And there's water in there. Let's pat that out. All right, that looks pretty good. So that is kind of our little hummingbird, minus his little white eyeball yet. Excuse me, I'm going to take a drink. So, anybody have any question birds on our hummingbird? Question birds. Any questions for our hummingbird? So you can make them other colors, like they say these are getting extinct. Really, I didn't know that. I didn't know they were getting extinct. I know they fly like from all the way up by us, all the way down through the Gulf of Mexico, like past Texas, over the Gulf of Mexico. I don't know if they go to Mexico then or what, but like they're gone for they do a lot of traveling for such a little bitty bird. So we usually have them, they say, to put your bird feeders out the middle of May until like 2 weeks after Labor Day, because then they head back out. So alright, so I'm just waiting for our eye to get dry. So the eye, all I did was put, so you're going to want to thin some white and take your liner and make sure you don't have a drop of water on the end of it. And all I did was put a little curve of white on the bottom here, something a little different. Just a little bitty curve, like a comma almost. And then I put a little bitty tiny dot up here, like at 1 o'clock. And you want to be careful with these dots. Like, you don't want them dots to be huge when you guys are doing your dots, because then it's going to look like they're staring in the headlight. So you really want a really, really tiny dot. And I didn't And that one got in a little further. I had the other one out further. Like I tried to get it out further, but that one landed where it did, and we're not going to change it. But so that's all I did with the eye, is put a little comma under it, and then the dot on top. All right, so we can go back to that, and that's really it for your bird. Then he gets, when you spray your whole piece, then you can come back and put gloss sealer on his eye and on his feet and his beak if you wanted. And if you wanted, you could put that dragonfly glaze over this, over him, so he's got that sparkle and glitter like the hummingbirds tend to have. So one of the flowers we didn't work on last week was our, we started with our dandelion, and we can go back and finish the one underneath it there. So we have our, let me see, where's my dandelion? Dandelion, watermelon, watercolor, lemon peel, we did that. Where's the green part of it? All right, for our stems on our dandelions, I used holly green. So we're going to go to our holly green, which is our OS 465 holly green. And is the phone froze or what? Because it's not moving. So holly green. Is the picture moving for you guys? Because like it's not doing nothing here. There we go. All right, so holly green. We're going to switch now to our, working on our dandelion here. And you could use the little liner brush, or you can use, I'm going to just use my nylon brush, but I have to put something in my mouth or we'll be coughing here again. So hold on, thank you. All right, so we're going to thin out our holly green. Get that water in there. Let's get a new one. Now we just want to, oh, that's kind of big. I think I'm going to go to the liner. The liner took a dive on me here. Alright, so let's go back to our liner. Because these are kind of peaked leaves. And so I like to use all different colors of greens when we have the green plants. Because all plants are different greens. Like every plant isn't the same medium green. Alright, so we're going to just get our holly green watercolor into our little crevices here, our indents where our dandelion petals would be, I guess you could say. The greenery. I guess, did everyone have a good Easter? I was in bed sick. I was actually in bed from Saturday after shop hours till yesterday, really, for the most part. Although I did pour on Monday and Tuesday, but it was only your box pieces. So now we're going to bring our holly green right down our stem here. And there's just a nice crevice, so it's kind of nice and easy to follow. And so you can see how adding another green color to it. And you can just pick whichever one or two you think that this dandelion one is. And bring them on down. So the weather was pretty good here, I guess, but like I said, I spent it in bed. It's really a wicked cough more than anything. But so I'm just bringing more of our holly green in to kind of darken some of this a little bit more. And like the dandelions just have one stem, so that like this one will just be the one stem. And then we do have the greens over here. Not too much paint on there, wiped it off. And then again, we're going to pick a stem and give him a stem. I'm just going up and down with the watercolor color and just picking out where our little stems are here for our dandelions, or whatever you desire to make them. I know someone made theirs pink, which was really pretty. So you can change your colors and do whatever you want. And then we'll come back and add some more green up here. Now you can kind of see that filled with water. I'm just going to take some of that back out. I don't want it running if I turn it and before it dries, and then it's going to run all over on me. And I kind of tried to make my dandelion bud thing kind of like greener, darker green in here. And we'll do that just by coming back now and adding some more layers. The more layers you put, the darker it gets. Or you can just pull in a little bit more of the paint that isn't thinned as much, and you can use that too. Then you want to be careful that you don't get brush marks though. So I kind of like to just put 3 or 4 layers of the same strength watercolor, if that makes sense. So you can see, like, this one's really light, so if we come back and now add a couple more layers, we can darken it because it would be darker under there. And then if it's getting too dark, we can grab a little water and then that'll thin it back out. And so you can just do your shading just like that. Okay. So we got any questions going on? Did the feed stop? I think it did for a minute, but I think we're okay. Okay, so that's our dandelions. I think he's got to get a little darker here. I'm still getting the videos from all of our classes downloaded to the computer. I'm made it through a whole year. I'm back to February of 2021, and so we're getting there. And once I get those all done, then I will start uploading them to YouTube. So it's happening. But like that all does take time too. And we're just darkening our dandelion stems here. It's kind of like dry brushing because you're building up layers, but they're very watered down layers, so they have more of a watercolor look to them, more of a softer kind of a pan pastel chalk pastels look. All right, so that looks pretty good. All right, we can work on these little guys. I can show you how to do those brown stems in there. I just got to see where what color I use. Let me see, for the berries, for the purple flowers, brown, medium brown. There's light brown, sparkle. Let's see if we can find some medium brown here. All right, medium brown, OS 471. I'm going to shake that up more. So when your paint comes out like that, it's not shook up well enough. And so you want to shake it up really good. So I'm going to put a couple drops of water in that. And this is where the good liners are really a good tool to have. Makes it a lot easier. Because we have all these little fine lines. So last time we did all the little purple here. So now this time there are little indents. And we just want to pick one and then just kind of follow it. And like usually stems, they're skinny at the top and then you can like push down and widen them out so they get wider as they're going. And so that's where the liner comes in really handy. Because these are actually pretty fine lines. But there are stems there. So you can just kind of follow them. They're kind of a hit or miss thing too. But like you can see, there's a whole bunch right here. So that's kind of what, if you're having trouble, like start where there's a bunch of them. So you kind of get the feel of it. And they're all kind of coming to a center. And so that should help. And then they're just kind of connected to some of the little purple branches, but not all of them. And like I'm resting my hand on my piece. And if you want to add a couple somewheres, if you think it needs it and it don't have it there, you can just go ahead and add a couple too. It's like this one's got more of a little curve to it, and then there's like little ones off of it. Because all of these little purple things are like coming out of a center. So that's kind of like an allium. I guess these could be alliums too instead of the Queen Anne's lace. And sometimes you gotta like turn your piece so you can see the little crevices too. Sometimes the light's hitting them just right. You can't really see where they're at. But you really probably do want to put them in because they kind of add a lot of character. They just add some character to it. No, he looks like he's just kind of hanging out here by himself, like he's kind of lost. We'll just add one there. Kind of add one there for him, so he's got kind of a home to go to. All right, then we can just take our and follow our long stem. And I kind of picked the brown because like it's kind of a woody, probably more of a woody branch, like a shrub than a flower, I don't know. But it also got another color into our piece. And so that's why I did that. So that can come there. These branches are just kind of hit and miss down here, so it all depends where you want to go with it. This one here will have to come here to go up there. Now that one will actually stop in front of it and then come over here. And then stop so that they're in front of the stem instead of behind it. All right, so now here we got all these little stems that we didn't put any little purples on yet. So we'll just kind of just start filling them in. And if it's too late, just come back and give it another one. So your guys' invoices should go out tomorrow. They're automatic. Those that are skipping, I did cancel them for this month. So if you do get one, I'll be checking later in the day to make sure that they're actually canceled, because sometimes that doesn't work the way I'd like it to work. Pat that out of there. It's kind of running. Otherwise, they're going to go out tomorrow. They'll do the 1st unless you got a different date. Kind of everything the same. Can't really believe it's already the end of the month for shipping and time to ship again. Seems like we just got done shipping, but we'll get working on shipping and I think my throat's gonna start acting up here. I can tell it already. Oh. So we're probably gonna have to call it a quit. But that's all. These were done. Sorry. They're just kind of lined out. And then you can come back and put the purple in. But we'll do that next week. I think we're going to... I got to quit here because I can tell my throat's going to act up. It's getting... It's, whatever it is it does. I can tell. And I have like an hour of a coughing fit. So, sorry for the cough and the cold and... hopefully Sunday I'm able to do the free class again. If anybody has questions, you guys can always message me. This is the free class that we're working on. So, but I'm gonna have to go, you guys, because it's gonna start and it's gonna get bad. So, thanks for joining me, you guys, and we will see you Sunday or next Thursday. Your invoices go out on Friday. Please pay by the 1st or when you can. And if you're paying late, let me know if it's different than what it normally is. People getting the box will be getting the AI handout. That's only going to be in the box, so that's the only way to get it is to get the box. So hopefully you guys will looking forward to that, because everyone's been asking for eye stuff. So that's why the box is about eyes, even though it's a graduation box. It's about eyes. So I think that's about it, you guys. I'll be posting that tree tomorrow to give you a sneak peek of it. But otherwise, I'm going to go so I can take some coughs over again, because it's going to start all over here. So thanks, guys. We will see you next week. All right, bye.